ESPN as we continue Jim Valvano's fight against cancer.
Welcome to the Big Ten ACC Challenge, and welcome to Chapel Hill. The Dean Dome is rocking. Two basketball blue bloods square off for the first time in 25 years. It's Michigan taking on North Carolina. Hi again, everyone. Bob Wischusen here with Dickie V. Dick Vitale, Allison Williams will join us in just a moment. Can you believe 25 years ago, about, Chris Webber called the timeout in the 93 championship game, didn't have one,
and he got Tuckman.
And that's the last time these two teams met. Hard to believe it's been that long. Also hard to believe that North Carolina played the way they did against Michigan State over the weekend. They want to erase that memory as much as I'm sure they want to remember 1993.
Well, you know, think about this. Michigan State's one of the elite teams in the country. Physically and every other way, they manhandled North Carolina. North Carolina shot horribly. Well, let's give credit to the Spartans. But I'll tell you this, they're much better than shooting 24% and 6% from the three. The worst shooting in the history of North Carolina. This is a better basketball team, and I think tonight you'll see them make shots. Joel Berry has to be the All-American. Has not been yet. On the other side, Michigan's got a nice dynamite duo in Matthews, transfer from Kentucky, playing really well, and Mr. Wagner on the interior.
Yeah, Allison 1 for 18 from three. Joel Berry played a big role in that. He wants to erase that tonight.
He definitely does, Bob. He's now shooting just 33% on the season. Berry is a senior, and he's been around long enough to know a small sample size at the beginning of the season can't get his confidence up. I will tell you, though, he was feeling down during that Michigan State game. Prior to that game and the day of, dealing with body aches and chills, and he said, look, that is not an excuse, but you have to wonder if he was battling more than just those Michigan State defenders. He did tell me today he's still trying to find his touch after breaking his hand before the season, so that means lots of extra shots for Berry. He was at the gym at 8 a.m. yesterday morning.
Well, we check tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Geico, and Joel Berry will be going up against youth in the backcourt because Eli Brooks, a freshman, gets the start at the point guard spot, and what a start Luke May is off to. Who saw this coming? The former walk-on has carried Carolina at times.
Well, he had a great game against Arkansas, 28-15 against a good Arkansas team.
And right off the jump, we've got a foul called on Kenny Williams.
You know what can be a key in this game? The tempo of the game. Michigan, patience. In fact, Ken Pomeroy, with his great ratings, he has Michigan way down in terms of when you talk about tempo of the game. They don't rush at all. They take their time. They make sure they try to get quality shots. That's been a trademark of John Beilein. Quality shots. But point guard play is an area they're really concerned about.
Very rarely do the Wolverines turn it over, but they just turned it over. Coming into tonight, number 6 in America, 9.1 turnovers per game. And there's May. Alley-oop, the finish from Pinson.
He has become a star. He's a guy that was a role player last year. Hit that big shot to beat Kentucky to go to the Final Four. One of the great shots in the history of North Carolina when he made that big one.
Oh, Wagner able to finish with the left hand.
They can have a tough time inside with Wagner because that's one of the areas they're really concerned about when you talk about North Carolina. Interior play, both in the post offensively and defensively. Trying to show some patience.
Williams for 3. That's a good start for the Heels.
They already matched number 3s they made against the Spartans by making that 3.
Didn't take long.
Williams was really a great shooter coming out of high school. Struggled his first year, but this year he's had moments he has shot the ball well. Had a big game against Stanford, making 3s. Stanford not strong at all though this year. Nice fake.
Abdur-Rahman, shot clock at 2. So hoisting one and knocking it down is the Kentucky transfer, Charles Matthews.
Matthews' reputation coming out of high school, defensive player, a really limited perimeter shooting. He has really improved his shooting. John Beilein said he worked like you could not believe in the year he sat out.
Berry slips one through the baseline. Extra pass and the block from behind by Matthews. Berry tries a 3. Yes.
Just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. Joel Berry is an All-American. He had back-to-back championship games of 20-plus points, was the MVP, played with a bad ankle, had 22 in leading to the national title against the Zags of Gonzaga. See the patience, good execution. Point guard play so important.
Wagner threw the double team again with the left hand.
He really made a smart move coming back to school. He needed another year, was not ready with quickness and strength for the NBA.
What do you think, though, now that he has this next year in front of him as Williams goes down the lane? How good of a pro do you think Wagner has a chance to be?
Well, I think he's a guy that's going to kind of be stronger physically, but he's got a chance to play in a league because, number one, he can go inside out. He can shoot the three. And they step big guys out on the NBA now quite a bit. That was a great cut, by the way, by Williams. Their offense looks a heck of a lot better than when it looked against Michigan State.
Couldn't look worse. Here's the freshman Eli Brooks.
That's a big plus. If Brooks starts making shots from the perimeter, he's a kid that's really been playing fairly well at that point guard slot for them.
Williams, another triple.
This team shot 6% from the three, 24% for the game. That's not the team we're watching now. Will the real North Carolina stand up? Wow.
Matthews finds Wagner.
I'll tell you one thing. Matthews a different player than when I saw him down at Kentucky. Just shows you time, patience. A lot of people want instant gratification. He played behind two great guards, Murray and Tyler Ewens, both NBA players.
May with the jump hook. Boy, the question on Sunday for the Heels was, could anyone make a basket? Now the question tonight, can anyone get a stop?
Can anyone miss a shot? Luke May, what a story he has become. His dad was quite a quarterback.
Another back cut. And the throwdown by Charles Matthews.
What a terrific execution by Michigan. Really great execution offensively. Poor job defensively. People not seeing ball and man.
Berry for three. And Wagner fights with May and wins the battle.
Berry was challenged on that shot.
Wagner for three. What'd you say about him being able to shoot the three?
I told you, he can step out and shoot the three. Hey, what a clean game. This is unbelievable. No stoppage in the action, up and down, good execution, very limited defense.
Williams tries another.
Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Am I watching Michael Jordan? Am I watching James Worthy? Am I watching Phil Ford? What am I watching here? What am I watching? Oh, wow.
We've had 7 made threes in the first 5.5 minutes. Finally a whistle. We get to take a breath with Carolina up by 1. The lights were lit. Amazing.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Ford. Going further so you can.
Hey, we're going to take a look at the range this guy's got. He shot that from the Outer Banks. Joel Berry, look at this. Way behind the three-point line. Nothing but nylon. Look at Wagner spinning inside. Great left hand. He used that free hand well. He got away with one, I think, down on the way he hooked the guy. But he's got some nice moves inside, and he certainly could shoot the jumper.
And what a weapon he's blossomed into. As Wagner now in his junior year from Germany.
See the ball movement? That's another trademark of John Beilein. These teams are always so well coached. Starting on Lemoyne, where his son right now is 6-1, doing a great job.
Shot clock down to 2. Matthews has to hoist one.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Glass.
Are you serious? John Calipari, how'd you let this guy get away? How'd you let him get away? He's become a star up in Ann Arbor.
Are they having fun? 8 for 8 from the field, Michigan.
Wow. I mean, talk about Hail Mary time. Talk about praying. There's no way he was going off the glass backboard. They're checking, see if he got off the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about it.
So once they confirm that bucket for John Beilein's team, that will mean his team has not missed yet. They are 8 for 8 from the field. And they are 4 for 4 from 3.
Now it's going to get down to who plays defense. Whatever team really steps up defensively, you look at Roy Williams on the sideline. with his brain trust. You get Davis and Steve Robinson. Hubert was some kind of shooter, man. He looks like a professor now. Looks like Senator Senator Davis. Wow.
Allison?
Michigan likes the way they're starting offensively, especially from deep. But look for them to try and go back door a little bit more as UNC is trying to cut off some of their passing lanes. And that offense, such a big part of setting up what they're doing defensively. Beilein telling his guys during the last timeout, you have to stay attached to their shooters and limit them to just one shot.
Well, Sterling Manley just knocked one down in the post. We've already seen Michigan a couple of times go backdoor. Wagner with a couple of layups, utilizing the over-aggression at times of that Carolina defense.
And they do a great job in passing the basketball and movement without the ball. That was big for North Carolina, getting a possession inside to score.
Hard to believe, arguably their best three-point shooter, Duncan Robinson, would be responsible for their first miss. Kenny Williams.
He's got great range. Last year, the team suffocated him, and he gave them many open looks.
Knocked out of bounds. That's off Abdur Rahman, so that will stay with North Carolina. And coming up next, ESPN, 9:30 Eastern. #1 Duke at Assembly Hall in Bloomington to take on Indiana. It's the 19th annual Big Ten ACC Challenge. It rolls on from Bloomington as soon as we're done here in Chapel Hill. All games are available as well, streaming live on the ESPN app.
And you're probably going to get a chance to see the best player in America, Marvin Bagley. Sir Marvin, I mean, he's been unreal. At 64 points out there in Portland in 2 major games and like 29 to 30 rebounds.
May over Robinson. The tip follow is there. Sterling Manley with a couple of buckets.
I mean, that's big for them, getting the big guy inside to give him some point production, works on the glass. They really missed. The kid they were counting on went early to the NBA. They didn't expect Tony Bradley. They thought that he would definitely be a factor and obviously would have been one of the top players for them on the interior. But he went to the NBA, drafted first round by the Lakers, traded to Utah.
Hinson from the corner. That's off the mark, and the rebound falls to Xavier Simpson. The hit ahead to Matthews. Traveling.
He took an extra step. The NBA, he'd get away with that. I'm really impressed with the play of Matthews early in this game. We know he's an athlete, came out of the Chicago area, very athletic. And the only reason he left Kentucky was playing time. And he played behind some great players. Some guys just aren't patient enough, but Murray and Ulis were so good. There's no way John Calipari's going to put those guys on the bench.
A role player in only about 10 minutes a game. Matthews averaged less than 2 points and less than 2 rebounds. But what a start he is off to for Michigan. And what a start both of these teams are off to offensively. There's the first bucket for Garrison Brooks.
They're hoping that Brooks again, another big guy, gives him some point production. They're doing an excellent job passing the basketball, both teams. Really finding the open man, moving the ball. So far in this battle, Big Ten and ACC, it's 6-1 right now for the ACC.
Shot clock down to 7. Wagner straight away.
Little Dirk Nowitzki, huh? He's got a little Nowitzki about him.
Pinson pulls up at the free throw line. And Wagner's got the rebound.
They need Pinson to have a great year. He's had some injuries he's battled throughout his career. Gave him a spark last year. Was a great guy coming off the bench. Now they need him to be a real starter and be a real contributor.
Pinson will go to the free throw line. When we return, 4-point lead for North Carolina. This is the largest lead for either team here in the first half. Challenge in its 19th season, and this year between the two conferences 9 teams are ranked, including #1 Duke. 24 titles between the two conferences. Of course, North Carolina won last year. The ACC overall leads the Big Ten ACC Challenge, but it was the Big Ten last year losing for the first time since 2008. Bob Wischusen, Dick Vitale, Allison Williams here in Chapel Hill, and Dick, as you pointed out, Purdue with a win over Louisville. That's been it to this point for the Big Ten this year.
Well, I think there's no question in my mind the #1 conference in America, despite I don't care what happens here. Basically, it's North Carolina. North Carolina in the conference along with Duke and company. I got the ACC as #1. I have the Big Ten as #2 preseason, but I'm getting a little concerned here because they've had some bad losses along the way in terms of the bottom clubs have not played as well as I thought. SEC is to me the most improved conference in America, and the Big East is dynamite.
Nice scoop by Abdur-Rahman.
Rahman's a guy that really, a veteran player, has been around, has scoring ability. Abdur-Rahman has got ability to give him point production. He's got to do it.
Traveling called on Sterling Manley.
Yeah, he definitely lifted his pivot foot. John Beeline told us before the game, Bob, told you and I, that he likes the upside potential of this team. Remember last year, they were struggling. They were like under 500, and then all of a sudden, they got really hot. And the kid Walton was terrific at the point guard spot, and they missed that because it's really important in their system to have good point guard play. They had several NBA players. Trey Burke was there. They had Walton, who was certainly very good. The kid Morris played there. They've always had some solid point guards.
And he admitted to us that they don't feel this year like they've got that guard. Xavier Simpson gives it up along the baseline, and he'll try and chase it down in the corner. Out of bounds to who? And it will belong to North Carolina.
Watch a little right here. Takes the ball. What a nice little finger roll. One of the greatest ever. The Iceman used to utilize that. George Gervin, Eastern Michigan fame. If I was in Detroit at that time, he'd be wearing a Titan uniform. I would never. The Iceman was something special.
Tough shot for Berry. It goes
special.
Down.
Hey, Bob, he made my preseason All-American team. And I got a feeling by the end of the year, he'll make the postseason, which is the most important.
Another player that thought about the NBA and decided to come back for his senior season.
Smart decision. Oh, look at movement without the ball.
And a blocking foul is called, so that'll put John Teske at the line. Allison?
This has been such a back-and-forth, fast-paced game to start that Michigan's head coach John Beeline reminding his guys, we have to control the tempo. We want to shorten this game, not make it longer, looking for his guys to slow things down a bit out there.
Very, very well said, Allison. We talked about that on top of the show. Tempo so important to Michigan. They got to control the tempo. They play at this fast pace. The edge definitely goes to the Tar Heels.
When the pace is this high, you get a lot of substitutes in and out as well. Matthews got a brief rest, so he's back in for Michigan. Isaiah Livers on for the first time for the Wolverines, and it looks like Mo Wagner is going to check back in for Teske if he makes this free throw.
I think that Livers can be a very good player. They really like his potential.
Seventh Woods is in the game now to share backcourt duties with Joel Berry.
Tell you what,
May lost it.
you know, Woods, he became a hero at age 14 with all these dunks that he demonstrated. It became a big hit in terms of YouTube. He's had a lot of injuries. He's
19th annual Big Ten ACC Challenge rolls on Thursday. The Breslin Center in East Lansing. How about this matchup? Number 5 Notre Dame, number 3 Michigan State. This one on ESPN and also streaming live on the app.
I know my guy Carl Ravitch, who I worked with in the Bahamas. Carl is so excited about doing that game with Jay Billis, and I don't blame him. That's a terrific game.
Wagner with the left hand again.
But he is playing so well, taking the ball to the basket. They don't have an answer for him defensively. I just keep pounding it in until they can stop him. Michigan wants to make you play 5-on-5. North Carolina wants to get in transition a little.
Seventh Woods with a soft touch.
Seventh Woods with a good little baseline jump shot. He was a big scorer on the Scholastic level.
And a block at the other end by Berry.
North Carolina's won 20 straight at home. Good block, good help defense. Now we talk about guards. Barry's so good. Let me give you two kids' names. You better keep an eye on them. Colin Sexton out of Alabama and Trey Young of Oklahoma. If it weren't for Bagley, those two kids would get so much PR as freshmen as diaper dandies.
Simpson hits a three. I work a lot with Fran Fraschilla as well, sometimes on the big Monday games. He talked about Trey Young having that decision between Oklahoma and Kansas. Could almost reshape the Big 12 season this year and get Oklahoma back in contention.
Trey Young is really terrific. I agree with Fran. He's a special player. 43 the other day against Oregon.
Berry with the floater, and a foul will go against North Carolina on the push from behind. And that one will go against Garrison Brooks. So Brooks will take a seat. Sterling Manley back in.
Okay. See, this is Michigan. Patience, poise, shorten the game. Don't allow a lot of possessions.
Wagner, how about that move in the pivot?
Great footwork. He's got terrific post moves and footwork inside.
He's got 13 already. Here's Berry. Hits another three.
He feels it tonight. He feels it tonight. He's got the rotation, the follow through. He had it in a warm up. I talked to him before the game. He said, my hand feels good.
That will belong to Michigan when we come back.
Tell you what, I can't wait for my gala. We're honoring Jim Harbaugh, Greeny, Mike Greenberg, Leonard Hamilton. It's going to be special, raising money for kids battling cancer.
Talking about Dick Vitale's 13th annual gala to raise money for the V Foundation. Everyone, it seems, has a story where they've been touched by cancer. Even Roy Williams lost his best friend, Ted Seagraves, who lived across the street from him, passed away 2 years ago. His son, Drew, is now a manager for Roy here and the North Carolina basketball team. And again, you could join ESPN and the V Foundation in the fight against cancer. Visit v.org/donate. All donations benefit the V Foundation for cancer research.
You know, I'm proud to be a member of the board of directors. So far, the V Foundation has raised over $200 million that has gone for research, various cancers.
Matthews can't hit from the corner. And you said your own gala has raised $21 million in total over 13 years?
$21 million, all dedicated to kids. Ours is all about pediatrics.
Soft touch from Luke May.
Luke May is going to have one heck of a year. And if they could get any play inside from the young big kids they have, that'll really help North Carolina. And tonight they've got some production inside from them.
How about this matchup? Luke May on Duncan Robinson. About the most unlikely Power 5 matchup you could ever have, with Duncan Robinson as a Division III transfer and Luke May a former walk-on. Here's Robinson hitting a three after the block inside by Manley.
You know, Robinson, a terrific three-point shooter. The problem was last year getting free for the shot. Had the great ability to shoot, but could not get free. Defenses really played extended defense on the perimeter against him. They got to try to get him looks, because I'll tell you what, he gets looks, it's like a layup.
It gets sloppy, and it ends up with Robinson, who shields the ball.
Oh,
but
he missed the layup.
And the behind-the-back save by Manley. Pinson with the reverse.
The tempo of the game right now is North Carolina. The tempo, they want to run, baby, run. Oh, these Tar Heel fans love it. They love it. Who said this is a cheese crowd? Sammy Cassell. Forget about it, Sammy. He said a wine and cheese crowd years ago.
Air ball to Berry. Berry for three. Look out. Comes up short. And they needed to look out underneath, as that didn't hit anything.
They're going to back the ball out now, Michigan. Get a little patience. The 3 Ps. Patience, poise leads to points.
Rainbow three, well short from Ibi Watson.
Well, look at this here, Mr. Lamb. A little Harlem Globetrotters around the back. A little showtime. Look at this. Little reverse layups. What do we got, the Washington Generals and the Harlem Globetrotters? I'll let you decide who the Washington Generals are.
Neither of these teams. It's been a fun first half.
Luke May wants to post him inside. They missed him. He steps outside.
And hits a three.
Are you kidding me? He was a walk-on. He wasn't a McDonald's All-American. He was not even a Burger King All-American. He wasn't a Wendy's All-American. He was nobody's All-American except his dad and Roy Williams.
Offensive foul on Wagner.
He's no walk-on now, I can tell you that, man. This guy hasn't been a walk-on for a while. And that shot he made against Kentucky, one of the greatest shots ever, like Michael Jordan's when he won the national title for them. Dean Smith's first with that dramatic shot.
Luke May exploded onto the scene for North Carolina last year during the postseason en route to winning a national championship ring, but he's not the only member of his family rocking some extra bling this summer. His brother Cole was a part of the Florida Gators team that won the College World Series, and there to support him in Omaha was his brother Luke. And these two guys now go back and forth a little bit about who has the best looking national championship ring.
I might side with North Carolina, and Luke May was pretty confident that his ring would win the bling contest as he went down in a heap there, but gets back up. Perry to the corner. Williams allows the flyby. Duncan Robinson with a tip back right to Berry. He gives it up, and hanging from the rim.
What an unselfish play right there. He went in triple threat position. Pass, shoot, or drive. He decided to pass. Dropped the bounce back. Dropped it like a dime. As my guy Clark Kellogg would say. Dropped it like a dime.
Robinson can't quiet the crowd. North Carolina already with more made baskets in the first half of this game than they had against Michigan State. And they can't follow it up, as May was blocked inside by Robinson, but the follow-up by Garrison Brooks. He'll go to the line.
Tell you, Bob, they're getting out of transition, fast-paced game. We're going to see him right now. Look at triple threat. Catch the ball, face, and there he is, drops the pass perfectly. He could shoot, drive, or pass. He passed.
Hill, you're watching the ACC on ESPN. Under 4 minutes to go in the first half of a wild one between Carolina and Michigan. Coming up on the Alfa Romeo halftime report, Archie Miller, he's looking for a signature win, and Miami, Minnesota, that is a really good matchup in the ACC Big Ten Challenge of unbeatens.
I'll tell you one thing, Michigan State right now looks like the best in the Big Ten, but Minnesota is right there. They got a dynamite M&M gang. We talk about Mason at the point guard slot and Jordan Murphy. To me, he's a young mini version of Sir Charles Barkley. Remember, watch this kid, Jordan Murphy for Richard Pitino's team. They are legit. They're going to be tough to beat. And Miami's got a tough task on their hands, especially playing up in Minnesota.
That's Dick Vitale. I'm Bob Wischusen alongside Allison Williams, and that is the start that Jordan Murphy is off to.
Yeah, terrific. I'll tell you one thing, he can rebound, he can score. Charles Barkley, you would like him, Charles. I know one thing, he doesn't have Charles's personality.
Who does?
He's something else. Love the big fella.
Out of bounds to North Carolina. The first meeting in 25 years between these two programs, going all the way back to the 1993 championship game when Chris Webber called the timeout. Can you believe that was 25 years ago?
Unbelievable. I had a few more years in those days. But let me tell you this, the next 3 minutes is vital here for Michigan. Vital. They could really lose this game big time in the next 3 minutes or get back in the game. It's important they go on a little spurt here. Boy, he's going to be so pleased. They had 45 against Michigan State in the whole game. Struggled He told us upstairs, said not to take anything away. Michigan State was superior. They physically really were much more aggressive. He said, but that was the end of 11 days on the road. And he said, other teams are on the road too. He said, well, we went to Stanford first the whole bit.
Yeah, it was 11 days on the West Coast. Not even just on the road, but the whole time on the West Coast.
I mean, they had a good win over Arkansas, because Arkansas is going to cause a lot of trouble in that conference. They got terrific guards. Barford, and certainly when you look at their club, they got some good guards.
An 11-0 run for North Carolina.
They went 8 for 8 to start the game. Then they went 5 for the last 16.
Matthews tied up.
Michigan.
Well, it's been 25 years since Chris Webber called that timeout. Some things haven't changed in 25 years.
Hey, look at
Some things remain the same.
I can't believe that guy's 78 years old. Are you kidding me? Who is that psycho? Who's that wacko?
There are still some
taking
ways.
Pictures?
Yeah, there's some things that have changed. Different ways that Dick Vitale spends time with the student section, like periscoping a little visit before the game.
Follow me on Twitter, Dickie V, man. Follow me. Have a lot of fun.
You are fun. That three won't go for Abdur Rahman, and the rebound pulled down by Brandon Robinson.
Robinson with a great bounce off the floor there for that rebound.
His pass deflected to Abdur Rahman.
They're going to stop this spurt by North Carolina.
Abdur Rahman to the basket. Brings it back up. And that three is perfect for Deron Simmons.
You know, Simmons came in with a big reputation. Came out of Ohio University, was an all-conference player in the Mid-American Conference. They're looking for him to really challenge for that starting role. He averaged 17 a game on a collegiate level.
He's trying to run down this loose ball. Can't save it. Now, we talked about the Dick Vitale Periscope experience. Allison, there are a few other things that have changed since Dick Vitale was back calling the Final Four in '93.
We have all these great ways to connect with fans, right? On Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Periscope. And you know what's crazy? Dickie V, you're better at it than Bob or I.
Oh, by far. It's not even close.
I just have a lot of fun with the fans and connect. I mean, let's face it, there's some wackos out there, too, that you have to deal with. I mean, you have to deal with some, but you can't let them get the best of you. I learned so much from the fans by dealing with them, and they give you a lot of good information. I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. I'm a hot dog, you know that. Mustard, sauerkraut.
Not at all.
The whole bit. I know one thing. I got to have more followers than anybody else in the mid-70s. I can tell you that. Only maybe Neil Diamond might be a little bit more.
Seventh Woods hits a jumper.
They're getting some play out of guys like Woods. Robinson with the rebound. Woods has made 2 big buckets for them. It's going to be an interesting North Carolina team all year. I think they're a team that's going to get better and better if they can get their big guys to start contributing on the inside.
Wagner powers his way through Luke May.
They got to get more looks for him inside. Every time he touches the ball in there, Bob, he scores.
He's got 15 here in the first half.
And that's going to be a real dilemma for North Carolina when they have to face really strong inside players. That's one they're going to have to face, but they never missed a bag several times.
Pinson, nice lead from May.
John Beilein cannot be pleased with the defensive effort of of his club right now, Michigan. Their defensive effort, there's no communication, there's no help. Can't allow those easy layups.
That's a brick from Wagner. Another bucket for May.
Boy,
13.
They are offensively so efficient here tonight. It's like night and day what you've seen here in their performance against Michigan State. Not even close. Wagner a little frustrated right there, shaking his head. I'm going to be seeing this club again in a short period of time against an improved Texas team who lost 2 heartbreakers to Gonzaga and to Duke.
Well, if you would have told John Beilein before the game you were going to shoot 54% in the first half and make 7 threes, what do you think the score would be? I'm not thinking he would think down by 14.
Exactly. That's because North Carolina has been so effective, and the defensive effort of Michigan has been really questionable. They've allowed too many points, not physical enough, not aggressive enough, and that was the trademark of Michigan State. They were physical, they were aggressive. There's a great bounce-back half after that subpar performance.
Seventh Woods. Lost it. May found it. Tries a three. Short, but what a great first half still for Roy Williams' North Carolina team, bouncing back after a miserable effort on Sunday out west against Michigan State. Already more points in the first half tonight than they scored the entire game on Sunday. After the break, the Alfa Romeo halftime report.
On ESPN as we continue Jim Valvano's fight against cancer.
Welcome back to the Big Ten ACC Challenge. Just about set for the start of the second half between Michigan and North Carolina. And from something adorable to something not at all adorable. Baba shoots at Dick Vitale. Yes. It's like the 11 o'clock news, right? Small furry animals always makes good television. We do not. We'll get off camera as fast as we can. Allison Williams is with us here in Chapel Hill as well. And what a difference 4 days makes for North Carolina. More points in the first half tonight than they scored the entire game Sunday against Michigan State.
You know, it's real trouble for right now. You're thinking about Michigan. They're 6-0 in games holding teams 70 and under. And the one game they didn't, they lost. Right now, when you look at North Carolina, 70 is going to happen. And the reason? Berry and May, the veteran players, have really been good here in the first half. Tempo of the game, edge, big time to North Carolina.
And how about the role players kicking in as well as we take a look at our assist of the game from the first half. Brought to you by State Farm, and a play triggered by a really neat under-the-basket, behind-the-back save. Sterling Manley sends it the other way.
Yeah, Sterling Manley with a good save. He also made 2 baskets. He got them to start their transition. Here comes the reverse layup. He said, let's play horse, baby. Try to match that.
How does Michigan turn this game around in the second half?
Well, they're going to have to do a better job defensively, Bob. They really didn't get stops with too many easy shots.
Offensive glass being worked by Garrison Brooks, and it stays with Carolina.
Garrison Brooks giving him some good minutes, too, in that first half.
Allison?
Well, I talked to Roy Williams about how well his team shot the ball in that first half following the Michigan State game when they shot this 25%. He said, we missed so many in that game, we might have a lot of makes stored up for a long time to go. But the reason they shot so well, guys, they moved the ball well, assisting on 16 of their 20 makes.
And here's May, a fadeaway. He'll go to the free throw line. How about Michigan shoots 52% in the first half, and they're losing by double figures?
Losing because they didn't defend. They didn't defend at all. North Carolina, as certainly Allison pointed out, got good ball movement, and that ball movement led to unmolested shots, not challenged. Teams that really win defensively are teams that challenge people on shots. Do not allow them to get open, good looks.
Duncan Robinson picked up that last foul. He now has 3.
Duncan Robinson's a kid who somehow, some way, he's getting the most out of his talent and ability. As you said earlier, came from a Division III school, took them to the finals, Williams College, and here he's really been a great asset in his career. But he's got to get free, and they got to help him with some screens and ball movement.
Matthews, that's contested shot that falls to Luke May.
I like the way May uses the bounce pass. He's so effectively.
Offensive rebound, the interior pass to Garrison Brooks, plus the foul.
Really attacking the rim. That was a concern of Roy Williams before the game. He said, we didn't rebound at all against Michigan State. And they're playing with a lot more aggressiveness and sharing the ball. That's what you're talking about, a high percentage shot. Giving it to your teammate for an easy layup on the interior. Garrison Brooks, they're hoping that this kid develops as the year goes on. A little bit more experience. See, North Carolina last year, you got to understand what they lost. I mean, you lose a kid like, they lost Meeks inside. He was a double-double machine. Played brilliantly during the NCAA tournament. Then they lost Hicks on the interior as well.
Justin Jackson, the player of the year in the league. That's a lot of production to have to replace.
And Jackson now with Sacramento. And then Tony Bradley, you got to think about losing him. He's a 6'11" player who would have been great on the inside. But they reload. They're one of those schools. They got a nice recruiting class coming in next year. Michigan's got a nice class coming in. Something about these are two great state universities, not just in the world of basketball or football or baseball. They're just great schools. They have such unbelievable tradition. John Beeline is a teacher. He got that years ago. He's worked in the trenches to get up to this level. Nice backdoor cut.
It's the largest lead for North Carolina as it's pushed up to 20 as Berry adds 2 more.
Simple cut to the basket. No defender. See ball in man. Wide open layup. That's Michigan basketball trying to move the ball, reverse it, swing it side to side.
Matthews attacks and scores.
He's an athlete. He really has great athletic ability. Has played well early. But this is the first real road game that Michigan has faced. And the first really elite team. I know they lost to LSU, but LSU is certainly not on a level with North Carolina. Coach Wade hopes to get him there.
From the corner, the freshman Eli Brooks hits the side of the backboard. And a foul will be called against Michigan.
And take a look right here. Watch this right now, the backdoor cut. Bam, there it is. Roy Williams has to like that. Oh, yeah, look at him. Look at Roy. I'll tell you what, this guy has been some kind of coach. You know why he's in the Hall of Fame. Win, win, win. See another great coach in the next game. Fair coach. Might have a chance to make it by the name of Krzyzewski.
Yeah, he's got a chance.
He's got a chance. Might get a renewal of his contract.
Reach-in foul. Abdur Rahman committed a foul at the offensive end. Now he commits a foul at the defensive end. That's his third.
They're going against Indiana next game. It's over at the Hoosiers, where they've had some major upsets over the years. Indiana got blown out by Indiana State, lost also to Seton Hall, but have come back and played better lately. But do they have enough personnel to be able to offset the great Bagley, who has just been unbelievable?
Well, I guess the question is, once you get past, say, a Minnesota, a Michigan State, the teams that look like they are going to be at the top of the Big Ten, how about the depth of the Big Ten this year? How good you think that league can be?
Well, you know, I thought it was going to be really special. I really did. But then I didn't think, for example, Northwestern has not been what I thought they would be. I thought they would be better. I thought Purdue, even though they beat Louisville, it showed a little life there. They also beat Arizona, but they showed really some ineffectiveness when they lost those 2 games out in the Bahamas. So again, I don't know, and I don't see the depth factor like I anticipated before the season. Iowa's not been what I thought they would be. I could go right down the list. We don't know about Ohio State. Ohio State is going through a growing stage now. Coach Holtman does a great job. Came from Butler. Lost a tough game to Butler by 1. Wisconsin hasn't been what people thought they would be with the great Happ.
Offensive foul called on the drive by Matthews before the kick out to Duncan Robinson, so that's the second on Matthews.
You know, Bob, but saying all that, it's early in the year, and Eli's teams can get better and better and better. I mean, the Georgia Tech game with Northwestern right to the wire, and the kid Lindsey did not come up productive. By the way, Tom Crean did a great job in that game. He did a great job with Dave Pash. Tom certainly, I thought, got not a fair deal out of Indiana. That's my gut feeling.
May seals inside, scores again.
Simple cuts that you got to beat the man to the spot. You got to see the ball, and you got to see a man. John Beeline knows that inside and out, but communicating it sometimes to get your players to understand that when you got young kids is difficult.
Abdur Rahman rolls the 3 off, and there's May trying to keep it alive. It's out of bounds, and it goes to Michigan.
Abdur Rahman's got to score for them. They need his point production. Him and Duncan Robinson. Just simplicity of little cuts to the goal. Defense doesn't see the ball, back to the basketball, wide open layups.
Asked Roy Williams earlier today if he had a comparable player in his 30 years as a head coach to May. Did you ever have a walk-on that surprised you and got to be this much of a factor? And he actually really thought about it and turned it over in his head, took a deep breath and said, no, I can't think of anybody that I've ever had that has surprised me this much from what he was to now what he has turned out to be?
Well, you're not going to get many walkouts to get that opportunity because North Carolina over the years is going to load up with one McDonald's All-American after another.
Yep.
And they're bringing in the creme de la creme, the best of the best, just like Duke does, Kentucky does. Archie's brother, Archie Miller. And I mean, Archie's a great choice for Indiana. I just didn't think that Tom should have let go, but the situation, they made a great choice in Archie. His brother Sean had a tough situation out there in the Bahamas, losing 3 games.
Perry comes up short, and there's Pinson on the offensive glass.
Pinson right on the glass, very athletic, battled a lot of injuries. North Carolina really playing well now, really playing well. They're doing right now to Michigan what Michigan State did to them. And we got to remember this, Michigan started, made their first 8 shots.
Good hands by Barry. Saved somehow by Kenny Williams. But it ends up with Abdur Rahman. Still can't hit the 3.
North Carolina's changed. Not much on the interior. Everything they get is basically wing players, perimeter players, drivers.
Barry.
Look at that pass to the ball. Look at the layups. It's layup after layup.
Williams rips away the loose ball. Here comes Barry. Finishes again.
Get a timeout, coach. Get a TO, baby. Get a TO. It is run, baby, run.
Well, when we come back, hasn't been a great memory so far tonight for Michigan. And we'll look back at 1993 in the Fab Five in a moment.
Instead of going straight up the floor, he was veering towards our bench. And as he pivot, caused timeout.
He takes the timeout. Technical foul. Technical foul on Michigan.
It goes from now, we lost the national championship game, to we got to pick up our brother.
One of the most fascinating 30 for 30s that ESPN has ever put together, going back to the last time, amazingly, that these two teams met 25 years ago, nearly 25 years ago, the 93 championship game. And where are they now? Well, Chris Webber, he belongs to the Basketball Hall of Fame, and it would be terrible to think that that would be the first and only thing that folks would think of when they think of Chris Webber. There's Eric Montrose, who's the radio analyst right here at Chapel Hill.
Yeah, Eric made certainly a terrific job. George Lynch was great. But I'll tell you one thing, that Fab Five, the fashion, the whole thing they generated was unreal.
Unbelievable. Back in a moment.
The last time Michigan and North Carolina played each other when the Tar Heels won that 1993 championship. And also on that team was Henrik Rodell, who is now the German national team coach for Michigan's Mo Wagner. And Wagner said even though he grew up in Germany, he loved U.S. basketball, followed all the big-time programs, including UNC. And it was actually an email from a mutual acquaintance between his coach Rodell and Coach Beilein, who sent an email that put Wagner on the path to becoming a Michigan Wolverine.
That was a great story. Remember Niels Giffey, who ended up in stores playing for UConn? He was a German prospect that the same talent scout found and eventually funneled towards John Beilein. And John Beilein didn't get Giffey, but about 10 years later, all of a sudden the same scout has another player and isn't even sure if John Beilein is going to remember him. But says, you know what, let me send you a video of this Wagner kid. And John Beilein got a look at the video and said, oh, wait a minute. This is a scholarship waiting to happen. And that's all of a sudden the pathway for Mo Wagner to end up in Ann Arbor.
Well, he certainly had some great moments. Last year they came away a rebound away from going to the Elite Eight. It was the heartbreaker to Oregon. Beat Louisville, did a great job against Louisville. You know, we were talking about the Fab Five, and since we got such a blowout right now, 26, I want to make this point. You know, I'm from the Detroit area in terms of coaching. I knew all about certainly Weber and Rose and those guys from the city. it would be great if those two guys would get together, hug one another, and get back. I mean, they really, as kids, they have great admiration, respect. Somewhere along the line, it's broken off, that relationship. And I know Jalen, he'd like to see Chris come back to the Fab Five with some love in his heart toward them, because they were special, man. They really were special in terms of what they started. I mean, to get 5 kids out of high school, I know there was some illegalities that took place, and I know there was some problems in terms of with some alums, etc. But the bottom line is they were still kids coming out of high school, playing together as a team, and good enough to go to a Final Four was really special.
Luke May with the three-point play. And not only were they a basketball team, they were literally a traveling group of rock stars.
Yeah,
they changed the culture of college basketball, didn't they?
Yeah, it changed in terms of the way teams, the long shorts, the black socks. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Matthews.
Nice drive by Charlie Mack. He's going to have a really good year. You know, Michigan's going to have to regroup, basically, just like North Carolina had to do after what happened at Michigan State.
Malik Felton is lost under the basket, so Matthews comes the other way. He's left alone, tries a three. That's off the mark.
You know, Felton's a nephew of the great Bray Felton.
Yep.
He was just tremendous when he played here.
Playtech leans inside, and he's got his first bucket.
I think he's really going to be a good shooter for them to make the three, get some PT, some playing time. Roy going to his bench. He's got a lot of kids that really are almost equal in talent. Now they get a chance to try to show, coach, I'm going to earn playing time when the game is really a crunch time.
Wagner fouled. Just a little piece by Sterling Manley. Check that Teskey, so that will put him at the free throw line. Coming up next on ESPN at 9:30 Eastern, #1 Duke takes on Indiana at Assembly Hall in Bloomington. The 19th annual Big Ten ACC Challenge will roll on from Assembly Hall. All games streaming live on the ESPN app.
Well, like I said earlier, the Big Ten's still going to have a lot of time. I think Purdue eventually is going to find himself. I think Northwestern's going to be a lot better than what we've seen thus far.
John Teskey was a finalist for Ohio Mr. Basketball a couple of years ago. It was Xavier Simpson, his Michigan teammate, that won that award.
Can't teach that size, man. You can't teach that size. Got to get stronger, got to work a little footwork. Look at John Beilein, teaching and teaching and teaching. That's what he's done all his career. He has battled and battled to get where he's at today at Michigan. He's done a great job with the Wolverines.
Pinson just a little too strong, and Matthews has the rebound. And Matthews is fouled by Playtech.
He's an attacker, Matthews. He really tries to attack. You know, Beilein's one of 12 coaches to take 4 different schools to the big dance. He took Canisius, Richmond, West Virginia, and Michigan.
Not bad.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. "28 teams, 14 matchups,
All kinds of stars.
That's absolutely beautiful.
1 challenge. The Big Ten ACC Challenge continues with Notre Dame, Michigan State, tomorrow, 7 Eastern on ESPN.
Well, that'll be a good one. And boy, could Michigan State use a win over Notre Dame, because it has been all ACC in this challenge so far. 6-1, and right now with the 3 games going on as we speak, NC State leads Penn State, Clemson leads Ohio State, North Carolina leads Michigan. If form holds, it'll be 9-1 ACC when this early round of games wraps up.
Last 2 possessions, good play by Michigan. Nice backdoor cut. Tell you one thing, that Notre Dame game by Michigan State will be special. You talk about 2 coaches that have an understanding of how to win. Mike Bray doesn't get enough national publicity with the amazing job he's done with the Irish. And it's right now, next year, he's got a terrific recruiting class. A nice move on the inside. Wagner with that good footwork. Mike Bray's got probably the best class he's ever got coming in. But his kids are going to have to play their A game to survive in Breslin. Because Bridges and company, that team is, their backcourt has gotten so better in terms of the young kids, Langford and Winston. And Tom Izzo just knows how to get the most out of people.
What did Langford shoot it against North Carolina on Sunday? Poole pulls up. That's a little too strong. Hinson the rebound. Bob Wischusen with Dick Vitale, Allison Williams here in Chapel Hill, and 4 Tar Heels at the scorer's table, set to come in. Next time out is Pinson, again with the left hand. He's got 7.
They can do anything they want. They really can. I mean, offensively, they just go right to the basket. As Pinson with the layup, we saw Wagner inside with great footwork, patience. I mean, they've missed so much out of Walton. Walton was their catalyst at the point slot last year. Point guard so important to John Beilein's team. I like the fact they're not quitting. They're still playing hard.
Rebounded a putback by Isaiah Livers at the offensive end, but can they get any stops at the defensive end? Giving up 72 points only midway through the second half.
Too athletic right now. You see North Carolina splitting them off the dribble, going right to the goal, attacking the rim.
Wagner able to rebound the Felton miss.
We talked about earlier how under John Beilein they've had some outstanding point guards, Walton and Trey Burke, and they really need one because he is such a teacher, John Beilein. We're going to watch right here inside. Look at the patience right there, the poise, and then look at the footwork. Keeps that pivot foot down, utilizes either hand, right and left hand, protects the ball by using the basket to seal off the defensive player. Terrific job by Wagner inside.
He made a big jump from his freshman to sophomore year. As that's an air ball, trying to keep it alive. Watson, but it's stripped away by Pinson. That'll be a held ball. It'll stay with Michigan.
You know, games like this are games where you learn a lot about your team, too. In the case of John Beilein, you know, pouncing on some cupcakes and getting wins is great for the kids to start to believe, get a little playing time. But the bottom line is you find out against quality competition, because this is what they're going to face when they face the Minnesotas and the Michigan States.
Well, coming up a few days from now, because of that odd scheduling this year in the Big Ten, with Madison Square Garden being the home of the Big Ten tournament a week earlier, they start Big Ten play right after this game's over. Their next 2 games are home Indiana, at Ohio State. Then there's a little bit of an out-of-conference lull, but not much of a lull because they're playing UCLA and then at Texas, that game you're going to be calling with Dan Schulman. So this stretch of 5 games is looked upon by many back in Ann Arbor as a real barometer as to what type of Michigan team this can be this year.
Well, Indiana and Ohio State are games you got to win. You got to win because they're as good as those teams talent-wise right now. They're a little beat out talented right here tonight.
Wagner. Foul.
That's those games you were talking about. UCLA, Steve Alford's got some talent down there. Lost those 3 kids in an incredible scene down there in Shanghai, unreal. Kids very lucky that they're not still in China. I mean, multiple stores they stole from. It's just embarrassing, humiliating, representing a university in that fashion. I mean, I'll personally tell you this. If they play again this year, those kids, I say shame on you, UCLA. I really mean it. Shame on you. I mean, there's no way in the world. Have them practice, do what they can, go to class, give them a year, but they have to learn from that. You can't just say, as their dad said, what is it? They just stole some sunglasses. Are you kidding me? Are you serious, LeVar Ball? What kind of parental advice is that to young people? Don't get me started on that.
I tried not to. Perry steps back. A little too strong, and Watson's got the rebound.
Some kids here getting some playing time.
Nice fake, and a fadeaway is off the mark from the corner for Jordan Poole. Putback is good, though.
North Carolina getting a little lackadaisical now, too. They're going to start trading baskets, getting bad habits. You got the big lead. Difficult to stay focused. They're still up plus 20.
There's a chance for a 3-point play for Luke May.
Well,
he is up
like
to 24.
You gotta like him, Bob. You gotta really like this kid. You talk about the definition of getting maximizability. This is what he does. He has great scoring talent. He gets standing ovations when he walks in class. As his dad was a QB, was a quarterback. His son said, I want none of that football, Dad. I want none of that football.
Well, Roy Williams telling us a story earlier today that he played golf with Luke May's dad, Mark, when Luke was maybe 5 or 6 years old.
That helped in recruiting.
And they got the idea to send him to a few basketball camps, but really never thought anything of it. And he got some offers as he got into high school, but Roy Williams called him up, said, look, I don't know how much this is going to be an incentive to you, but we want you at North Carolina. Would you be willing to pay your way as a freshman? And he said, sure. I want to be at North Carolina badly enough. Yes, I will walk on, and I think it's worked out.
It's worked out well for everybody involved. Just think about that shot against Kentucky. One of the great shots of all time. Michael Jordan had one, baby. That was big.
All right, Adnan, thanks very much. Boy, 16-2 in the Big Ten ACC Challenge for Duke. And you are playing good teams if you're playing against the Big Ten. That is something else, and that is an offensive foul. Lower in the shoulder was Jerron Simmons. Well, again, the 19th annual Big Ten ACC Challenge rolling on Thursday at Breslin. East Lansing the spot for number 5 against number 3, the Fighting Irish and the Spartans. It'll be a great one. That one on ESPN. It's streaming live on the ESPN app.
You know, we know all about Bridges, how talented he is. The freshman, you got Jackson, very good. But let me tell you this, Farrell and certainly Bonzi Colson can play. That combination knows how to win. They have that winner's mentality. And as I said, well, Mike Ray, he's going to have them right up there battling in the ACC. I mean, they're capable of battling Duke because of their experience and the veterans they have.
Pinson slapped off the leg. Good hands by Poole.
Pinson's got 6 assists, 7 points, 5 rebounds, showing his versatility. Thank you, Mr. Madre, doing a great job for his 38th year, and he can't catch me. I got 39. The question is, which will be the first guy to get the 40? Will I be surviving to get the 40? Got an interesting game on Saturday. I'm doing Rich Halliburton going down there to Hoop Hall, battle down there between Kansas and Syracuse. Cuse came off a nice win over Maryland.
Garrison Brooks called for that foul. And that was one of the best games we've had so far in the Big Ten ACC Challenge.
Well, he's got Jimmy Bam, nice cards there with Battle and Howard and company.
In and out for Brooks.
May having a strong game here. Brooks is going to be a very good player at Michigan. Young kid, feel himself around. He's got a good floor hand, the ball handling ability. Got to work a little bit more making shots. I think May's ability is his court presence. He knows how to pass the ball. He works hard moving without the ball, sets screens or releases, steps back off screens.
Shot clock winding down, and a sloppy turnover for Joel Berry with 6.5 minutes to go in the second half. The freshman Eli Brooks in and out for 3. Right now we're having a problem with our score graphic, so that's why you don't see it at the bottom of your screen. We will get that back to you as quickly as possible, although if you're a Michigan fan, it may not be the worst thing in the world to not be looking at it right now.
Oh, what a nice spin on the baseline.
Oh, terrific.
What a nice spin on the baseline.
What a complete game.
He's no longer a role player. He is an S-T-A-R. I can spell that, baby. S-T-A-R. He is a star. There he is. Oh, look at him spinning on the baseline. Nice little reverse, little hook, using the backboard really well. Watch it. Oh, look at that. Nice move. Oh, the spin cycle. Our producer, Ken Belton, says he's the washing machine. Ken Belton, former Stanford great. The Stanford Cardinals are really suffering right now.
That 3 off the heel, the long rebounds, tapped up in the air by 7th Woods into the backcourt, but it's recovered by Ibi Watson. Jordan Poole, great ball movement, and it ends up with a wide open 3 that is knocked down by Isaiah Livers.
You know, Livers and Poole and Brooks, all freshmen, our kids getting a little baptism here and playing on the road, dominating in high school last year. Now all of a sudden going to the collegiate level, getting used to the pace of the game, the tempo, the speed.
May fades away, short.
First bad thing he's done all night.
He's 11 of 16 from the field for 27 points.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
That's not bad. And he gets a block. Livers underneath. Wide open. Libby Watson. Tap to the corner. Seventh Woods tries to save it. And stepped on the end line.
You know, May having a game like he did against Arkansas, and he couldn't buy a basket against the Spartans. I mean, he struggled big time in that game. I believe they were 1 for 18 shooting the three in that game.
The only three they made was Berry just trying to beat the halftime buzzer, basically from the hash mark, threw in a prayer. But every normal three that they would take in the natural flow of the game, they missed everything.
Langford was really terrific. You know what's amazing? You shared it upstairs, and I did not know. 24 turnovers in that game, and they couldn't convert off the turnover, Roy said. They forced 24 turnovers on the Spartans.
Got out-rebounded by 16.
And they came here with vengeance on the glass here tonight, dominated on the glass.
Wagner will drive it and finish.
I like his potential. I just think he's going to get stronger and stronger, and he will. They got an excellent strength program.
Come on, Sterling.
Contested shot. Good defense by the freshman, Isaiah Livers. And at the other end, it's Poole. It's a three.
He was a good shooter out of high school. Good reputation as a shooter. Those kids have shown some good moments here. Livers and certainly Poole.
Seventh Woods turns it over. And we had Jordan Poole as number 49 on our ESPN 100, so a top 50 recruit for John Beilein.
See, it's very difficult to have great rhythm right now in North Carolina because he's throwing in so many combinations, different personnel, so you're not getting the kind of rhythm that they showed here earlier in the first half. John Beilein, he's done a winning job everywhere he's been, whether it be West Virginia and Canisius. Unreal what he's done as a coach. He's a
never been an assistant. In 36 years, he's only ever been a head coach. Going back to his community college days.
He's always been given orders, so never had to take it.
That's it.
He's always been the boss.
Kind of like your wife.
Wow. My wife, she belongs in sainthood, living with me 46 years. You kidding me? All the coaches
and always been the boss.
Oh, wow, she's always been the boss. You know what? You brought that up. I'm going to tell you something. We talked about it yesterday. You're not going to believe this. Since we got to the blowout, I'm going to share this. You will not believe this.
Am I going to regret this?
You will not believe this. Right. I have never, ever, ever in our 46 years have seen a check. My wife has gotten every check, and I don't know where they've gone or where they are, but she handles all my cash. And I love her dearly.
Obviously. Kenny Williams with a nice bounce back as he struggled. He was 1 of 7 from the field, only had 6 points. That overall miserable performance by the Heels against the Spartans, but he's now in double figures for the 6th time in their 7 games.
He's had a nice first half here.
Backdoor
nice
cut. Watson with the left hand.
Nice cut. Michigan playing so much better right now. Combination, North Carolina with the big lead, not as intense on the defensive end, but you got to credit Michigan for some good execution there.
Berry for 3. Yes.
He gets back his touch. Watch out. There's no doubt he's one of the premier players in America, and he's a fierce competitor. I saw him for the first time play up in a tournament up in Fort Myers, Florida, and I was so impressed.
Watson will drive it. And the freshman has a chance for a 3-point play as the senior, Joel Berry, took the charge. But it is nice to say that, isn't it? Yeah. A star who's a senior who's back in school.
Taking the charge right here with a 17-point lead. It's been all Heels. Tell you one thing, Jimmy V Week special. I can't wait for next week. We are a V Foundation game. Right there is a beautiful red convertible. We're selling only 1,500 chances. Over 800 have already been sold. $100 a chance. Donation of $100. Please go right now to dickvitelonline.com. You can get one there, or you can get it at Jimmy V dickvitale.org/raffle, Vital Raffle 2017. Go to dickvitaleonline.com and you'll see the car right there, and you can buy your opportunity by donating $100 and get a chance on a brand new red convertible. I know our producer's doing it right now. He's filling out the form right now. My guy, Mr. Belton.
I filled mine out. I'm going to fly down to the gala, and I'm driving home.
You're driving home with that baby.
That's what I'm talking about.
Kevin Nagandi will be our host. Oh, he kicked it off his foot, Joe Barry.
Down to 2 on the shot clock, so Barry hoists one from midcourt.
Michigan playing on ice. Little tempo here.
Reach-in foul is called on Brandon Robinson as he fouled Eli Brooks.
You don't need that foul, Roy saying you don't need that foul. One thing about Michigan, they don't usually foul, John. They don't turn the ball over, John Beilein's clubs. And this is a team in progress, a team that's a lot of work has to take place. They got some great recruits coming in next year. They signed a great kid, a lefty from out of Canada, Razdalikas. They signed an outstanding player from Daytona Beach, Florida, 6'11", Colin Castleton. A kid by the name of DeJulius from out of Detroit. A kid Brandon Johns from out of East Lansing. And a kid Nunez from out of Brooklyn. So he's looking for quality things. He passed Johnny Orr to become the school's winningest coach.
Matthews. And that looks like an offensive foul on Charles Matthews.
Just looking it up here, he's got over 500 wins in Division I, and he has 6th among active coaches and wins. You got Coach K, Boeheim, Huggins, Roy Williams, Cliff Ellis, and Baylor.
What's harder for a coach? Inexperience in the front court or inexperience in the back court? Because John Beilein, losing Derek Walton and Zach Irvin, he basically lost all of his experience in the backcourt.
Well, you just answered the answer for me. He basically leaned it toward the backcourt, and I agree with you.
You agree with that?
I would rather have great guard play. You get you to do your flow, defensive pressure on the ball, especially a kid like Walton. I mean, he took off big time last year in the middle of the year, and what they did in the tournament was unreal. They had that aborted flight, remember that?
Yes.
Scary as could be.
That was a plane crash.
Yeah.
I mean, a legitimate skid off the runway, plane crash.
And then those kids went out to Washington, D.C. there in the tournament and won 4 games in a row in 4 days. That was just unbelievable what they did to win the Big Ten title, and then they played so well in the postseason, they came a rebound away from going to the Elite Eight against a talented Oregon team.
Shot clock winding down to 5. Hinson, and he'll go to the line. And Allison, how about commemorating arguably the scariest moment for anyone with that Michigan program last year?
Without question, Bob, I mean, what a moment. They were taken off the runway on their way to D.C. for the Big Ten tournament. And what they decided to do is on the championship ring, some of the players had the idea. They wanted to actually put a picture of the airplane on that ring. It was such a defining moment for this team, a moment that gave them a new perspective on life, an appreciation for each other and for each day. So they decided to remember that moment on their ring that commemorates their victory in the Big Ten tournament.
John Beilein and the assistant coaches were talking about with us before the game, that plane crash, that the pilot made a last-second decision that if he would have, without thrust, tried to leave the ground, they would have come straight back down and would have crashed. So he made the decision that the safer thing to do was just abort the takeoff, slide through a fence, across a road, and end up in a ditch. And they never left the ground, but it was about as close as you can get to having a real disaster. And then they went on to win the Big Ten tournament.
It was a scary moment just listening to them talk about it today in that locker room.
And especially for those of us that fly all the time.
Nice
Heskey has it knocked away.
Yeah, good defensive play because they made a good entry. 2013, they lost to Louisville in the title game. 2014, lost to Kentucky by 3 in the Elite Eight.
Well, tonight, Scott Van Pelt, after Duke, Indiana, will have Sports Center at 11:30. Huge night of basketball. The Warriors and Lakers, Wizards at Philadelphia, plus Jarrett Stidham of Auburn on how the Tigers can beat Georgia for the 2nd time this season. with that college football playoff bid at stake. All with SVP Sports Center, 11:30 Eastern. Also streaming live on the ESPN.
Hey, do you think Nick Saban in Alabama going to be cheering like heck for Urban Meyer? His only chance to get into the top 4, he has to hope that they get beat in terms of Wisconsin. Wisconsin wins that, and everything else goes true to form. There's no chance for Alabama to get in there.
That's right. I think Alabama has to be rooting, correct me if I'm wrong, for TCU to pull off an upset against Oklahoma. It's a really interesting debate, too, if Ohio State were to beat Wisconsin, does that mean Alabama's in, or does that mean Wisconsin would be out and Ohio State would get in on the strength of that win?
Well, that's going to be interesting. Ohio State would have the argument we won the conference championship. Alabama's argument is we lost one game on a road to a rival, to Auburn.
You know, it would be ironic if Ohio State were to win the Big Ten championship game and not get in, and Alabama gets in instead. It would almost be a carbon copy of what happened last year when Ohio State got in over Penn State, who won the Big Ten. It'd be hard for Ohio State to complain if Alabama does to them exactly what they did to Penn State a year ago. Well, but that would be the nightmare for the committee. If chalk holds, then it's probably a pretty easy Final Four.
You know, I would simply say this. We got a nice comeback here by John Beeline's kids. Still 14 down, though, with a minute 13. But they really didn't quit. They played hard. But talking football, I say shame on you to Tennessee and what they did to Greg Schiano. What they did to his reputation in that moment to him was so unfair. I happen to know Greg's family well. I went to high school with his mother, and I went to high school with his father. And I'm telling you, they're a good family, and there's no way in the world he deserved that treatment that he received by those people that wrote those things on a rock there. It's just sad.
Well, they're reaping what they sowed now as well, because if all the reports are true, they've gone through about a dozen other possibilities for that job, and they are being turned down left and right. So if you send a message to the world that the bloggers and the fan sites and Twitter runs your program and makes decisions for you, then if you're a coach, why would you then think, all right, if I go to Tennessee and I struggle, is the administration going to stand behind me? Because it seems like they're not necessarily the ones that run their own program.
Good point. What about the play we just saw by the big
Walker Miller plays one in.
Nice play on the inside. Guys get some playing time here. Look at this. Oh, jumped the bounce pass and he had a layup. Jumped the bounce pass. Hey, what a solid performance by North Carolina. What a great comeback. I like his hairdo, man. I wish I even had any hair.
He's got your guns from back in the day. Aaron Rollman off the bench. And it looks like that foul may be called on Walker Miller.
Walker Miller made a heck of a play on the inside. The name just has a name of stardom. You can see it in the headline. Walker Miller. It just has that name. Look at these guys on the bench. They didn't have that feeling up there in Portland against Michigan State. Great bounce back. Roy and his staff up to feel good as a coach. You don't want to play a Mike Krzyzewski, a John Calipari, a Tom Izzo, a Roy Williams. You don't want to play those guys after a bad loss. And I want to get this into Bob Huggins of West Virginia should be in the Hall of Fame. Should be in the Hall of Fame. Over 800 wins. They better start really thinking about that. And another guy who's starting to put a resume that says Hall of Fame close to it. He needs a couple more years. You watch the job being done by Jay Wright in Villanova.
Felton gives it up.
Felton's a terrific passer.
Well contested by Austin Davis for Michigan down to the last 15 seconds.
Felton, the nephew of Ray Felton, is a terrific passer.
Offensive rebounds and a putback by Isaiah Livers that's looked pretty good here in the second half.
Yeah, Livers played really well here in the second half. With Livers, think about certainly the kid Brooks. They got some really good freshmen.
Brandon Huffman. A lead from Felton, and that will do it.
Huffman, big guy. Roy Williams feels a little bit better. A bounce in his step. Going to shake a hand there.
North Carolina's largest lead was 29, and they settled for an 86-71 win. And the ACC already with 8 wins. They have clinched the challenge, still with some marquee matchups to come. For Allison Williams and Dick Vitale, I'm Bob Wischusen. So long from Chapel Hill. Stay tuned because Indiana Duke is coming up from Assembly Hall right now. Let's go back to the studio.